morning. Welcome to another edition of MIW. Got the D-Man here, and I am glad you could join me. Today, we are still in the book by Neville, The Secret of Imagining. I think that's the one. He has so many, but I found this while I was reading it the other day. I've read it many times, but I like to share this because it's so valuable. I mean, this stuff really works if you work it. You have to put out the effort. Nobody can do your push-ups for you, and nobody can do your mental training, for lack of a better way to put it, or mental programming, however you want to say it. But if you do the work, you reap the results regardless. The same as if you go out there and try to dig a ditch. If you do the work, you're going to have a ditch. Simple as that seems, many people want results, but they don't want to do the work. But don't look at it as work. Look at it as something enjoyable, as an adventure, because life is an adventure if you perceive it that way. Smash that like button. Smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, leave a comment in the comment section. Here we go. We are on page 326. The Ideas of Good and Evil. W.B. Yeats, having described a few experiences similar to this experience of mine, he writes, "If all who have declared or described events like this have not dreamed, we should rewrite our histories. For all men, certainly all imaginative men, must be forever casting forth enchantments, glamour, illusions, and all men, especially tranquil men, who have no powerful egoistic life, must be continually passing under their power." So if you're not dreaming, if you're not imagining and taking action on that, you're probably working for someone who is. Those who do not have goals or visions are working for people who have goals and visions. It reminds me of that, there's a commercial or a post somewhere where the guy is standing next to his Lamborghini, and the employee walks up and says, "Man, that's a beautiful car." And the owner of the car and the company says, "Well, if you work hard and come in every day and show up on time, I'll have another one next year." It's kind of a slap in the face, but basically what he's saying is, you work for me, I have goals, you don't. And if you work hard for me, then I'll buy me another Lamborghini next year. It's so true. But the guy, the employee, he could have one too. He just needs to set a goal, a vision. People without goals are like a ship without a rudder. They take off from the port. Where are they going to end up? Who knows? They have no destination and no guidance to get there. We will continue. Determined imagination. Determined imagination. If you have a determined imagination, then you're not just imagining, you're doing that, plus you're taking action on intuitive guidance. We all get intuitive guidance. The problem is most of us rationalize it away. We explain it away. We come up with all the reasons why that won't work. Or we don't know what to do after the first step, so we never take the first step. Like Martin Luther King says, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. I love that quote. Great man. Determined imagination, thinking from the end, is the beginning of all miracles. I would like to give you an immense belief in miracles, but a miracle is only the name given by those who have no knowledge of the power and function of imagination to the works of imagination. Imagining oneself into the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the means by which a new statement is entered. This gives the state the quality of isness. Hermes tells us, that which is manifested. That which has been or shall be is unmanifested, but not dead. For the soul, eternal activity of God emanates all things. That's the higher self, the God part of you, universal intelligence, divinity, higher power, whatever name you choose to call it, Muhammad, Buddha, whatever works for you. What does it matter what name you put on it? It is a power greater than yourself, a power that resides within you and out there too, if you want to look at it that way. But is anything really out there, or is anything really in you? Everything is connected. We only see things as separate. I could not see something in you were it not in me. It would be invisible to me, whether it annoys me or inspires me. I have that quality or character within myself. Otherwise, I would be blind to it. The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. We must translate vision into being, thinking of into thinking from. Imagination must center itself in some state and view the world from the state. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. Thinking from the state desired is creative living. Ignorance of this ability to think from the end is bondage. It is the root of all bondage, with which man is bound. To passively surrender to the evidence of the senses underestimates the capacities of the inner self. Once man accepts thinking from the end as a creative principle in which he can cooperate, then he is redeemed from the absurdity of ever attempting to achieve his objective by merely thinking of it. So you have to think as if you already have it. It may be difficult if you're thinking about wanting some money and the bill collectors are calling you and knocking on your door. But you have to act as if, to think as if, to think from, to think the same way you would think as if everything you wanted was already yours, because it is already yours. You are blinded to it. You're unable to see it because you are going by the evidence of your senses. Remember, what is seen is transitory, will pass away. What is unseen is eternal. That's the thought world. That was what one of the great masters said. Construct all ends according to the pattern of fulfilled desire. According to your faith, be it unto you. According to your belief. However you believe, it will come to pass in your world. The whole of life is just the appeasement of hunger and the infinite states of consciousness from which a man can view the world are purely a means of satisfying that hunger. Your hunger is your desires, or your desires. The principle upon which each state is organized is some form of hunger to lift the passion for self-gratification to ever higher and higher levels of experience. Desire is the mainspring of the mental machinery. It is a blessed thing. It is a right and natural craving which has a state of consciousness as its right and natural satisfaction. It's perfectly normal to desire. There are some religious sects that say you need to eliminate all desire, but as I've read, to have a desire to eliminate all desire is in itself a desire. So it is impossible to eliminate all desire. I think it is very possible to eliminate attachment to desire. It's okay to desire things as long as that desire does not have you, because it's really hard to bring anything into your experience if your desire is so strong that you're attached to it, that you're focused on the achievement of the desire to the point where if you don't get it, you're unhappy, or you're thinking about when's it going to come or why isn't it here. That hinders you from creating what you want. You have to accept the way things are now, but yet live as if you had what you desired. if you can understand that. It sounds contradictory, but it's really